Welcome to the Eric Avasar Show. Today is a critically important day for St. John's men's basketball as Red Storm head coach. Chris Mullin has officially stepped down from the position. Not a surprise given that rumors had been swirling around and reports, of course, for quite some time. So it's kind of a relief in a sense to finally have this news break. Mullin, who is without question the greatest St. John's player of all time, leaves the team with a 20-52 record in Big East play. I mean, the first 3 years were certainly lackluster and unimpressive to say the least. Before, of course, he made the NCAA tournament this year. Mullin called it an emotional decision, understandably so. He loves the university and the basketball program very much. And, unfortunately, this past March, he lost his brother Roddy to cancer. This news breaks 3 days after new athletic director Mike Cragg released a statement asserting that Mullin is still head coach amidst the rumors of his departure and the decommitment of Cameron Mack, which was major news in and of itself. The first domino to fall in what is turning out to be a crazy offseason for St. John's was the loss of assistant Matt Abdelmassih to Nebraska. I can't say enough about what an amazing job Abdelmassih did on the recruiting trail. He was an absolute stalwart who practically brought in this entire team with so many quality signings and transfers. Mullin wanted a contract extension. Of course, he was not going to get it. He had 2 years and $4 million left on his deal. It is expected that he will be bought out of that deal. And it makes sense that Cragg would not offer it when this team underachieved so poorly this season compared to what they were capable of. I mean, the Johnnies had, without question, the most talented roster in the Big East. Shamori Pons was the best player in the conference, even if the numbers don't say so. Marcus Howard did deserve to win Player of the Year. Mustafa Heron was supposed to be a superstar transfer from Auburn who could still come good depending on how things play out. Another domino that fell today, Justin Simon declaring for the NBA draft. The Big East Defensive Player of the Year will be a huge loss for the Johnnies. Marvin Clark was a huge reason why St. John's lost 5 of their last 6 games, despite an otherwise very impressive career from another transfer to come into the program. This team had all the pieces to win in March and completely fell apart. That's on Mullin. He was way too laid back with his approach. They oftentimes say that a team takes on the personality of its coach, and in this case, that was not a good thing. Mullin is a very nice, likable, laid-back type of man, and that type of personality doesn't always lend itself to success on the hardwood when it comes to being a head basketball coach. This team exuded entitlement. They did not give full effort too many times, and rarely, if ever, put a complete game together. He took the job with no coaching experience whatsoever, and it painfully showed. I personally tried deluding myself into thinking that Mullin could make this work, that he could be the guy. After all, he is my childhood hero. I am sitting here before you wearing a Chris Mullin St. John's jersey. So many St. John's fans wanted this to work out, but unfortunately, it was just not meant to be. So far, Mike Cragg has done a really poor job of handling this situation with Mullin. Players had to monitor Mullin's job status on Twitter like the rest of us, and that's a terrible spot to be in. So this situation leaves egg on Cragg's face considering how recently he published a public statement of support for Mullin, saying that he is still the basketball coach. Now he must save face by making a great hire. Reports are swirling all over that Arizona State head coach Bobby Hurley is the top choice to replace Mullin, but getting him out of Tempe is going to be extremely difficult when you consider that he just signed a contract extension with ASU a year ago, and he makes $2.4 million a year. The Johnnies are very fortunate to have Vitamin Water founder Mike Repole prepared to act as a super booster. Rumor has it that he might be willing to pay Hurley's buyout at ASU to bring him to Queens, but it's going to be really tough to land him. If Bobby Hurley doesn't come, the second target, in my opinion, should certainly be Tim Cluess. He played at St. John's. He's coached pretty much his entire career in New York, and he's made the last 4 NCAA tournaments at Iona. He outcoached Roy Williams in Iona's first round game. He knows New York basketball, and I'm sure he would be chomping at the bit for this kind of opportunity to awaken a sleeping giant. For the Johnnies, it is time to brace what could be a brutal offseason. I personally wish Chris Mullin all the best. I thank him for all he has done for the university and the basketball program. We will certainly see what happens next, but at the end of the day, difficult times lie ahead for the Red Storm. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel.